winners? Let the pros show you how to make money. General Manager Al DeMarco, a regular contributor on Fox Sports, MSNBC, and Comcast Sports TV, brings over 25 years of handicapping experience to the table. CEO Steve Budin, the author of Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, is the man responsible for creating the online betting industry. Together, they lead PickNation.com, your #1 source for winners.
2 weekends ago, the NFL favorites had their strongest performance of the entire season, covering 10 out of 14 games. But last weekend, the underdogs bit back, going 8-6 versus the odds makers. But bottom line, this is all cyclical business, guys. At the end of the year, you may have the favorites 5-10 games over 500, or the dogs 5 or 10 games over 500, but it doesn't matter. The only thing that's important is whether or not you were on the right side of a winning favorite or a winning dog. If that was the game you keyed and you bet on, and that's why you're watching this show, the Countdown to Kickoff program, the only nationally televised show to break down all of your top games from a point spread perspective. Al DeMarco, along with Steve Budin, joining you for a 6th consecutive year here on FoxSports.com and nationwide, courtesy of Sports Time Ohio out of Cleveland. And Steve, first game on the board, we've got an NFC East showdown between two cellar dwellers, Philadelphia and Washington. Not many people expected much out of the Redskins this season, but they figured they'd be exciting with RG3, but the Eagles have just totally fallen to pieces. Andy Reid on his way out. Michael Vick is out. Nick Foles, the rookie, making the start, looking to hope for the Eagles to maybe snap a 5-game skid.
Right, so Michael Vick is out for this game, probably out for the season, maybe even out completely. And like you said, Andy Reid, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I mean, if I was the Eagles players at this point, I'd feel like I was on the set of 2.5 Men right before Charlie Sheen started to binge out, because they're in complete disarray. But that's emotionally. Physically, the Eagles just can't stop the pass rush. So they can't protect their quarterback. It's only getting worse for them now that they got a rookie in there instead of Michael Vick. I like Washington here. By the way, if you're a bookmaker, you love the Eagle bettors because they're 1-8 so far this year against the spread. I think that trend continues. I'm going with Washington here.
Now, Steve brought up an interesting point here about the offensive line. The Eagles unable to really offer any type of pass protection for Michael Vick so far this season. Nick Foles, of course, a rookie, but definitely bigger than Vick, standing in the backfield. But the Eagles do get their starting right guard back today. That's going to be Danny Watkins, and that means they reshuffle the offensive line once more. Probably the best news out there is Demetrius Bell, who has been absolutely dreadful since being signed as a free agent before training camp broke. He is back on the bench where he belongs. I think the key, however, in this contest is, though, Washington doesn't get much of a pass rush. That's the thing here. The Redskins, I mean, they are an absolutely dreadful defense. Ranked 28th in the league. They give up 27.8 points a game. They're number 30 versus the pass, and the defensive statistics in terms of how their secondary gets scorched, they give up 64% completions to opposing quarterbacks, who have already gotten 20 touchdown passes and 10 interceptions, and a large part of that is because their defensive line has only accounted for 14 sacks in 9 games. Now, the Eagles have certainly had their problems getting to opposing quarterbacks this season as well, but I think in this spot, this is the time you jump on Philadelphia. I know Foles only saw his first regular season action last week, but I think that he played well enough. And I think this Eagles team just, even though they're having a bad team talent-wise, overall as a team, they're better. So I like Philly in this particular spot. Next game is going to be a real good showdown in the NFC North between the Packers and the Lions. But first, we've got to talk about fantasy football and a free contest we run every single week at PickNation.com. Steve, $500 in total prize money, and the best thing is top 20 finish in the money.
We've been doing this for 2 years now. It's been a great success. And the big thing, if you're out there, to know is 2 things. Number 1, the contest is absolutely free. Number 2, you can enter it week in and week out, as most of you do, going after that $500. The last thing I would say is that this isn't your normal fantasy football. If you're just getting to the site, just getting to the contest, you'll see this is a weekly contest. So every single week, you got a chance to go after the money, not once a year like when we were kids.
And again, Again, top 20 finish in the money, $500 total prize pool. First place is worth $125, and as Steve said, it is free to enter, and it's instant gratification. It is over after the Monday night game between the Bears and the 49ers. On Tuesday, the winners will be announced. You can't ask for anything better than that. A free shot to win money. All you've got to do is go to picknation.com, click on the fantasy football ads, put together your roster by 1 o'clock Eastern Time here on Sunday afternoon, and you are set and ready to roll. And as Steve said, whether you entered 7 times before or this is your first time, it's free. So make sure you enter at picknation.com. Packers and Lions, Steve. Packers coming off the bye where they have been a phenomenal play, covering 6 straight games. You know, a lot of people, we talked about it last week on the show, were in love with the Lions last week at Minnesota, and they laid a big-time egg after the Vikings have been crushed in their 2 previous games by the Seahawks and Tampa Bay. Minnesota dominated the Lions, snapping their 3-game winning streak. Now, Detroit, a favorable home stretch, playing most of their games at home, but a tough opponent in the Packers.
Yeah, and Green Bay, not the same oiled machine they were last year. Obviously, they've lost that air of invincibility, but you'd be wrong to think that they're not a dangerous team. They are a dangerous team. The problem with the Packers is they're banged up at key positions, so they're having problems with that. And if you look at Detroit, well, they've shown this year that they can score with the best of them out. I don't think either one of these teams are going to have a problem scoring this game. I like over in this play.
Well, I could certainly see over with the Lions being on a 29-14 overrun. I can also see the Packers having covered 9 of the last 12 in the series with a push along the way. But I think you hit at the key point here. So many injuries. Clay Matthews is out. That means the Packers' pass rush is missing their most vital cog. They've still got injuries with Greg Jennings out. So many injuries on both sides of the line of scrimmage. But they are coming off the bye. I don't know. You know, if I have to put my money on Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers, I'm putting it on Aaron Rodgers. But I agree with you. If you have to play it, I'd probably lean toward the over with you. But for me, it's one of those games, boom, move on to the next game, which is Atlanta, Arizona. And frankly, we can probably skip this game as well. I could care less about this contest. Falcons are a 9.5, 10-point favorite in this game. Listen, they had their dreams and their hopes dashed for an undefeated season, losing again for the 8th time in 9 games to New Orleans last week. I know I had the Falcons as my best bet last Sunday. Hit everything else, lost the best bet. And it happens that way sometimes in gambling. You've got Arizona coming in here off a bye with a 5-game losing streak. I mean, on paper, Atlanta should win this one by 20. I just don't know if Atlanta's going to be ready for this game and mentally, emotionally.
Well, they finally lost, like you said, and I think 2 good things come out of it. 1, they can forget the silly perfect season thing. But number 2, Al, is I think we're getting a little value here, because had they beat New Orleans last week, they'd be 14-14.5 here. Because they lost that game, they're now 10. The real problem with Atlanta is they can't run, or they can't stop the run. The good news is they're playing Arizona. Arizona couldn't run out of a burning building, and they certainly can't stop Matty Ice. I think Atlanta's a cheap favorite here, even though it's a double-digit favorite. I'm laying the big wood.
Well, you know, probably the 2 most resilient teams in the NFL off a straight-up loss are the New England Patriots, and surprise, surprise, in case you're on Jeopardy next week and Alex Trebek hits you up with the question, the answer is the Atlanta Falcons. They have covered 18 of their last 21 games following a straight-up loss. I mean, that's truly an amazing record. So I can certainly see some validity in going ahead and laying the points with the Falcons. And personally, if I had to play this game, if you put a gun to my head, I'd go ahead and play the Falcons in this one. And listen, when they're at home coming off a straight-up loss, they've covered 8 of their last 9, and the average cover has been by 12 points. They're only laying 9.5 to 10 here. I don't know what the hell happened last week in New Orleans. I don't understand the last sequence of play calling when the Falcons had a chance to win this game and win me money, especially when they have 2nd and goal and they go pass, run, pass. Are you kidding? It's the New Orleans Saints. Isn't this what you pay Michael Turner for? Hey, Michael, get me a yard. Get me into the end zone. I don't know what the hell happened, but I do know one thing. You know, the Cardinals have that offensive line that's like a sieve. I mean, they've given up 35 sacks in the last 6 games. So, again, I'm with you. You're going to lay it? You might as well play it that way, because I don't see any reason to give John Shelton and the Arizona Cardinals any love here in Vegas. Speaking of our best bets on the card, remember, you can get them all for free one-day trial at picknation.com.
Right, we do the all-access pass. This is the greatest thing we've had and what separates us from all the other companies. You can come, get a free all-access pass, get every single one of our handicappers. Not a dime needs to be spent out of your pocket. We pull back the curtain, show you everything, so before you get ready to invest with us, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
I mean, you would have last Sunday gotten another 50-dime winner from Steve's #1 NFL crew out of Baltimore, which is like 44-23 over the past 5 years combined. You unfortunately would have gotten my best bet loser on the Atlanta Falcons, but hey, that's the beautiful thing about it. Nothing is hidden. We total transparency at picknation.com, and we do this giving you all the plays because we feel that over the long haul, we've got the best collection of handicappers that can make you money on a consistent basis, again, over the long haul, because there's no guarantees in gambling. Nobody wins every single day in this business. That's just a way of life. And in reality, Steve, with this all-access pass, they are getting $600-700 worth of action for free by using this pass. In fact, last Sunday, they had a monster play from one of our handicappers, Matt Rivers, the biggest play of his career. He cashed in with Seattle in that romp against your New York Jets, and we'll talk about them in the second half of the program. His New York Jets. And hey, it would have cost you $89 if you bought that play separately. You got that play and all the plays, all the handicappers for free. And like you said, it's unique in this business.
And there's a reason why other companies don't do it. They don't want you to know what's going on in their back door. They want to grab your money first and worry about you later. Obviously, we're the polar opposite of that.
So the free one-day all-access pass, go to picknation.com. Do it now, guys. The only way you lose is if you don't take advantage of our free offer. Final game of this segment is going to be Dallas and Cleveland. Well, that's it. Let's go to the commercial break. I mean, listen, the Cowboys are 4-5 on the season. Hey, the Giants, after the 2 straight losses, are 6-4. They're sitting in second place with a chance to still win the NFC East. After 4 road games in 5 weeks, they now play 3 straight at home. But home has not been too nice for the Cowboys here of late.
No, I think this game actually comes down to who needs it more. Dallas finds themselves in the thick of the playoff hunt all of a sudden, so they definitely need it more. But what Al said is absolutely right. The problem is the Cowboys, they're terrible at home. Tony Romo, 10 interceptions the last 3 games. The last 6 games at home, they're 0-6 against the spread. The last 12, they're 2-10 against the spread. This one's a tough one. Can Cleveland get the backdoor cover? That's what everyone's thinking this time. But with Dallas, you always have to go against the trend. So I'm betting Dallas here. I'm laying the 7.5. God help me.
Hey, and listen, the thing with the Cowboys, Steve touched on a couple of those ATS negative trends about how pathetic they've been at home. But when they've been asked to lay points here in Vegas, they've been atrocious. 5-17-1 in their last 23 games against the spread when cast as a favorite. 5-17-1. You're a former bookmaker. My gosh, you had customers, I'm sure, back in the days, they go against trends like that. They were just losing their shirts week after week.
Well, because what happens is that those trends are incorporated into the line. So you're seeing a line that bases itself on everything that's happened up to this point. So you're just banging your head against the wall by quoting stats when they're already in the line.
Listen, you see that Dallas win last week, 38-23 at Philadelphia, but keep in mind, 2 of their touchdowns came thanks to their defense. 1 came because of a special team screw-up by Philadelphia, so it wasn't a great offensive performance. But all said and done, I would still go ahead and lay the points and buck the trends that go against the Cowboys and lay it with Dallas in this particular game because Cleveland's another team I just can't show any love to at all when it comes to putting my money on a team. Hey, that's going to conclude part 1 of this week's show. We are going to be back in just a moment. First game up, St. Louis and his New York Jets. How would you like to get my best bet today and the plays of every single handicapper at picknation.com for free, no strings attached? Guys, I'm not kidding around. Al DeMarco here, general manager of the world's largest online sports gambling community, picknation.com. And today, you can get my best bet and the plays of every single handicapper at the site for free simply by using the 1-day free all-access pass at picknation.com. That's right, my best bet, the plays of 10 handicappers for free. If you were to buy them separately, separately, guys, you would spend over $600, but you're going to get them for free, the one-day free all-access pass at picknation.com. Now, you're asking yourself, why am I giving it away for free? Because, guys, I'm that confident that I put together a staff of the best handicappers in the nation that can win for you on a consistent basis. What better way to show you how good they are than by giving you their plays today for free? Once again, the free one-day all-access pass available now. All you've got to do is click on the ad at picknation.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Countdown to Kickoff program. Al DeMarco along with Steve Budin. This is the only nationally televised show that breaks down your top NFL and college football games every weekend from a point spread perspective. First game here as we lead off the second half of the program is going to be the New York Jets, coming off another disappointing performance. I don't know if you can say it's disappointing because they've sucked all season long, to be quite blunt with you. I mean, they got bushwhacked by Seattle. They were coming off a bye. They were bushwhacked by the Miami Dolphins the previous week prior to that bye at home. Now suddenly they're getting 3.5 points at St. Louis. I think that is too few for you few New York backers out there. I like the Rams in this one.
Well, you call the Jets my team, and, you know, as much as I love them, I hate them. But the truth is, they're my team because every week since week one, I've been right about them every single time. Now, Mark Sanchez, I don't know where he'll be next year, but Rex Ryan will be the defensive coordinator somewhere. As far as head coaching goes, Rex, I think your days are completely numbered. Why in the world would you bring Tim Tebow to New York? Now, that's the question we've been asking since week one of the season. We know a lot more now that it's week 10. We know that he didn't bring him in as a red zone specialist. He didn't bring him in as a third and short specialist. He didn't bring him in as a running back. The only thing that Tim Tebow is doing is standing on the sidelines and spooking the crap out of Mark Sanchez, who wasn't playing so great to begin with. So now Rex Ryan comes out and makes another colossal crackhead statement. He says, I'm going to stick with Mark Sanchez no matter what. No matter what, Rexy. Now, come on, buddy. At the end of the day, it's a good thing that you're in bikini weight, because you're going to have a bathing suit on at a beach very soon. As a matter of fact, if you're listening, I can hear the trees whistling in the background. That's the sound of retirement, Rex. I'm going with St. Louis here.
I told you, I thought St. Louis was to play in this contest. He's now done. You feel better now?
Much better.
You got that off your chest?
Oh, so much better.
I think, he has to talk about the Jets once a week just to alleviate a little pressure that builds up.
A little secret, Al didn't have the Jets into the lineup this week, and I called him earlier and told him, put them in.
We only have so much time to talk about these games, so it was Tampa, Carolina, out of here. By the way, I like Carolina. But listen, here's the other thing with St. Louis. I was very impressed with that 24-24 tie at San Francisco. They were up 14-0 in that game. They outgained San Francisco, a 49ers defense that plays so well all season, but especially at home. Sam Bradford passed for 275 yards. Steven Jackson, who I think is obviously on the downside of his career, 29 carries, 101 yards. And I think this is all positive going against that Jets defense, which has been pathetic all season long. And plus, the Rams have regenerated their pass rush, or rejuvenated their pass rush, I should say. 5 sacks at San Francisco last week, 26 on the year. With the Jets getting no production from Sean Green this year, on the road he's averaging like 40 yards a game on the season. I just don't see many opportunities for the Jets to get into the red zone, let alone get into the end zone. So I think it's a dirt cheap price on St. Louis. And again, I think it's that public perception that the Jets have all this talent. But I think it's been proven at this stage of the season they aren't that talented of a team.
Yeah, whatever's been taken away by injury, has been taken away. And now with whatever's left, they just can't get the job done.
And it doesn't help that they have Tony Sparano as their offensive coordinator either. Next game, New England and Indianapolis. Patriots showed again what the problem is with that team last week when they were hosting the Buffalo Bills at home. They were up 17-3. It looked like it was going to be blowout city, and suddenly it's a 34-31 game, and they're just eking out a 37-31 win, and they don't even come close to covering the double-digit spread. You have an Indianapolis team here that's won back-to-back road games, that's playing with a lot of confidence. Luck has been playing so well as a rookie. An Indianapolis team that has discovered a ground game. But, I look at those defensive stats for the Patriots. They've given up 35 first downs to the Bills, 481 total yards. Bills had a time of possession edge in that game at 34 minutes to 26. I don't feel really comfortable laying 9 points here with New England.
No, and when you look at Andy Luck, he's got all the earmarks that they were looking for. He's going to be their face of the future. He's going to do exactly what they put him in there to do. Now, let's not blow it out of proportion. He's going into New England here. He's facing one of the best offenses in the league. Now, gamblers will be quick to point out that he had that game against Green Bay, his signature game this year. That was at home. This is away. What I think the bottom line comes down to is that the Patriots defense, and I've been saying it week in and week out, is a complete fake. Bill Belichick, supposed to be a defensive guru. The man hasn't had a defense in 4 years. He's getting by on Tom Brady's arm. Not enough to cover the 9.5 points. I like the dog here as well.
Yeah, I don't want to touch the side, but might want to look at the over at 53.5 points, because I think the Colts and the Patriots will both give up points. And as we've seen, the Patriots like to play from ahead, and then they let everybody else come back from behind. So you have the potential for the backdoor cover and for the over as well. Now, let's talk about my dear friends, the New Orleans Saints, who cost me a win last week against the Falcons after being so good to me the week before against Philadelphia. You know, I look at this price, and people are probably out there, the gambling public, and going, oh my gosh, Oakland just gave up 55 points at Baltimore last week. Saints just upset the Falcons. This is a cheap price. I'm hearing the word sucker also being said here, because this is like a bookmaker's dream. 4.5 points. Listen, on paper, Saints should win this game. On paper, the Saints should be better than 4-5 this season as well. But this is a team that's given up over 400 yards in 9 straight games. They are near the dead last position in every defensive category in the league. In fact, total defense, they are the last in the league. And this Raiders team, this will be the game where, you know, suddenly out of the blue, maybe they play well. That's the scary thing about the side in this game.
Well, just sign me up on the sucker list, because I like New Orleans here. Raiders, they can't run without Darren McFadden. That makes it hard for Carson Palmer. So much easier to hit a 20-yard play-action pass when the defense is keying on the run. Just ask New Orleans. That's exactly what they've been doing lately. Drew Brees has seen his running game come back to life. That's added the balance in their offensive attack. I think that's why New Orleans has had a little bit of success lately. Now, this is a big game for New Orleans. If they win this game, they come back to 500, and they have a chance at the playoffs all of a sudden after a dreadful, scandal-ridden offseason. I think there's no way that Drew Brees doesn't show up for this game ready to roll. I'm going with all the suckers. They're right twice a week, just like a broken clock. I'll go with New Orleans minus the 4.5.
And listen, guys, I'm just going to tell you, I can see the Saints winning and covering this game as well, but I would never put my money on this game. So whatever you do, it's not from an endorsement from me. However, I look at this total at 54.5, and I'm telling you, the Saints can't stop anybody. The Raiders can't stop anybody either. You have two of the worst pass defenses, two of the worst pass rushing teams, both playing here today. And the Raiders can't run the ball, as you said, with Darren McFadden not healthy. Saints, as I pointed out going in that Atlanta game, I really liked what happened in that Philadelphia game on Monday night 2 weeks ago. Once Darren Sproles went out with the broken hand, it was almost like they were forced to go, oh my gosh, we can run the ball. We've got Chris Ivory, we've got Mark Ingram, we've got Pierre Thomas. Suddenly, 140, 148 yards the last 2 games on the ground. I think the ground game will be there, because remember, it was just 2 Sundays ago that Tampa Bay came into Oakland, and Doug Martin, I think he's still running. I think he had 400 or 500 yards in the game last I checked. So I do think that the Saints can get the job done, but I like the over at 54.5.
Well, you make an interesting point, and actually you've made it a couple of times during the show today that you wouldn't touch this game, or this isn't a game that you would bet on. You know, that's an interesting point, because what we do here on the show is we go over every single important game, and we take a position on it. This is something that they've never done on TV before, but that doesn't mean that we're betting every single game that we have an opinion on. That's what you do in college when you're learning how to bet. At this point, you come to us for professional advice. That's the big difference between taking our premium plays on our website and then going to the show and hearing all of our free picks.
And remember, you can get our best bets on picknation.com for free today, the one day all access pass free trial.
Right, it's great. You go to the site, you click on the big yellow ad, it says all access pass, and you get everybody's premium play. Big difference between a premium play and a free play. The premium plays are the ones that we sell to our customers and that we bet on ourselves. The free plays out, I don't care. I could go 0-9 with my free play. If I hit my 50 or 100 dimer on Sunday with the Baltimore Crew, I'm happy.
Hey, listen, and we talk about total transparency. I went 4-0 with my free picks last weekend in the NFL, and I lost my best bet. It happens sometimes, but listen, you've got no risk because you're going to come a one-day all-access pass, get all of our plays for free over at picknation.com. No strings attached. Next game, Denver and San Diego. First time these two met. You remember that Monday nighter? Broncos were down 24-0. Boom. They come right back, win 35-24. They're on quite a roll here. Peyton Manning, 79% completion, 16 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions last 6 games, of which the Broncos have won 5 of them. I don't see the Chargers staying close in this game.
No, and the last time they played, like you said, they blew a 24-0 halftime lead. But that was back when Peyton Manning was only showing up for the second half of games. What we've seen the last 3 weeks is timing, gelling, and wire-to-wire performance from Peyton Manning. I think that's the case here. If you're out there and you're worried about laying 7.5, 8 points with Denver, let me just remind you, every single home game that Denver's been in this year, they've won by double digits. So that really doesn't bother me. I think that trend continues. Just another favorite will lay the 7.5.
Hey, listen, guys, on last week's show, I told you to go against the Chargers and back Tampa Bay at home, and you saw what happened as the Chargers self-destructed again. Norv Turner, the next one of the many coaches, actually, that's going to be going and looking for a new job here at the end of the year. And the Chargers are 1-6 against the spread. Their last 7 is a road dog. Meanwhile, the Broncos have covered 5 of their last 6 division games, and they've covered 5 straight games as a favorite. So again, lay the points. Next game looked good when they announced it. Looked good until about 7 days ago, but doesn't look too good now with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Ravens, obviously, a 3.5-point favorite. We know Big Ben is out. We know Byron Leftwich is making his first start since 2009. FYI, last game he won as a starting quarterback, 2006. That doesn't bode well for the Steelers' chances in this particular game, even though the Ravens have been awful on the road this year.
No, I agree. Both of these teams aren't what they used to be, but they both have a lot of pride. You know, pride in their city, pride in their teams, pride in themselves. What that means to me is that this game will be ugly and it will be a war. Now, when you're in a war as a gambler, you always want to take extra bullets into battle with you. That's the reasoning here for me. I'm taking the points.
Oh, you like the Steelers here. Listen, for the Steelers to win this game, they have got to rely on their ground game, and they've got to rely on their defense. Now, the advantage that Pittsburgh has in this particular contest is that Baltimore's defense is right there with, Oakland and New Orleans. I mean, we're talking about bottom of the barrel. This
non-existent.
Is not, right, and I've been telling you this all year long from week 1, the Ravens' defense of old, it's just an old defense. And the fact that Ray Lewis is out doesn't even matter at all. Terrell Suggs is back, doesn't matter at all. I think Pittsburgh will be able to run the ball here effectively. Byron Leftwich, I think he starts throwing the ball from down here and then he brings it way up. He looks like a shot putter. Never liked him as a quarterback. I like the under a little. I can see the Pittsburgh play, but I think it's just going to be a game I'll watch on TV, and that's it. Again, guys, remember, you can get my best bet today, the best bets of Steve's Baltimore crew, and all the handicappers at picknation.com for free, one-day all-access pass. And, Steve, they get like over $600-700 of action for free.
It's the best thing we have on our site. It's the greatest deal. For the newcomers, you come in, you get every single person's play absolutely free. The premium plays, not the free picks. That's what you want.
And guys, remember, you can check my personal daily video report out every day at picknation.com. Free picks, in-depth analysis, money-saving discount coupons, and more. For Steve Buden, Al DeMarco, we'll catch you next weekend on the Countdown to Kickoff program.